Come on, boat, move. Hello. Well, here we are again. So before we get into this little video, just been to the post office, posted a gift to a lovely friend of mine called Peg, who's in the USA. Bodie, please! 3 times I've told him, once before I turned the camera on, twice now. Yeah, so a bit of a shock. Now, I went to post it. She lives in America, and I normally post everything online. I don't use post offices. I've got a video coming about that soon, but I don't now ever use a post office, got no need to. And so I went online yesterday and did the usual, and it said we can no longer post to America from Royal Mail. So I tried Parcel Force, said the same. Tried something else, said the same. I thought, well, I'll leave it till the morning, don't know what's going on there. So I left it until the morning today. They all said the same. I tried a couple of other ones. Nobody seems to want to post to the the USA. So I thought, well, we're going to the woods. I can, hello Mr. Man, come on then. Going to the woods so we can pop into the post office. So go to the post office, and I said, can I post this to America? I don't know if there's a problem. I normally do it from home. She said we can't anymore. I said, well, we can. So I said, well, either you can or you can't. She laughed. She said, we can't with Royal Mail or Parcel Force or any of the other companies. The only one company is DPD. They're the only company, and if they pull out and say no, then there's no way of posting to the USA. And she said, thanks to Donald Trump. Well, come on, I don't get into all that, but I said, well, what a bloody pain. She said, tell me about it. She said, we have no training either, so this is the first parcel that I'm sending via DPD, so you have to bear with me. I said, that's fine. So we did the parcel and the weight and everything else, and she started to do it. She said, do you know the name of this person? This glorious lady called Peg. No, what did I just say? Did I say the name? I think I did. She said, do you know the phone number of this beautiful person called Peg? And I said, no. She said, then I can't move on any further. I said, you must be able to. I'd been in there 5 minutes by this time. So I said, you must be able to. I said, put my phone number, don't matter, do it. And she said, oh, I don't know if I'm allowed. I said, you can do what you like. Anyway, she said, I'll go and ask my colleague. So her colleague came in, and she said, the gentleman has got no way of knowing this person's phone number. Bodie, please stop licking. And so the supervisor said, oh, I'm afraid in that case we've got no other option, we can't post it. So I said, well, I've just asked to put my phone number in. Doesn't matter, does it? And she said, oh, well, I suppose we could. Bit naughty. I said, well, let's be naughty then. You know, so anyway, she put my phone number and it was accepted. So, cut long story short, it's the last time I'm going to post anything to America. So just to let you know, Peg, but also I'll have to change things like eBay and stuff, because I can't now send to America. And the reason being, the cost. Now what I've sent is a tiny, tiny little thing to Peg in the USA, and the postage costs 3 times as much as the item that I'm sending. It's absolutely ridiculous. So if somebody wanted to order, say if somebody wanted a set of my books, all 4 books, Christ almighty, you know, it's going to cost 50 quid probably, 60, 80, I don't know, 70 quid in postage. It's absolutely ridiculous. and I can't do it. So I've got to change my eBay when I go back to say UK, maybe UK orders only. Perhaps I'll do it that way. Bit of a pain, but you know, I've sent many books, many paintings worldwide, but especially America. So you know, it is a shame. I'm not on YouTube to make money. I'm not on YouTube to sell books or paintings or anything else. I just, you know, it's nice to have that opportunity if you live somewhere to know that you can, if you want to, buy a book or buy a painting. Anyway, so the last time I made a video, I had my mic on and it was going. So I'm sorry about that. But this is now just the camera, so no microphone whatsoever. Come on then, Mr. Bode. I can see you. Come on. Wow, it's a beautiful, glorious start. I was hoping to be here slightly earlier. I got up really early, 5 o'clock. I know it's crazy, but I've got things to do today, a lot of things, including my heart appointment. As far as I know, it's still beating. It seems to be working, sort of. Yeah, I've got a number of things to do, and then somebody phoned and wanted some advice. So yeah, it's put us back a little bit, but never mind, we're still here. It just means I can only spend probably 1 hour here, which is plenty, but I like to have a bit more in case I get chatting or want to sit down or whatever. Okay, back in a sec. Glorious t-shirt weather and shorts. Okay, so this video, now we're into it, is about 2 conversations I had with 2 separate people. Squirrel up there. And it's about taking responsibility, really, or not blaming the things around you for who you are, what you are, how you think, your makeup, your personality. Because we can all do that. Say, well, I do this because of that. You know, one of my neighbours just recently was saying he's a Christian and believes in, you know, all that sort of stuff, so that's fine. And he said he does because of his parents used to. And that's fine. I said to him, that's fine, that's cool. As long as you believe it, then, you know, that's great. Do whatever you do. For me, I like to have my own thoughts and opinions and stuff like that, and I like to think things through. So if my parents were, whatever religion or no religion or whatever, then as I grew up, which I did, I looked at religion, several religions. I liked Quaker. George Fox was the leader of the Quaker movement in 17 something or other, I believe. I like that. I like the fact that the Quakers, I'm not a Quaker, but I like the fact that they don't have a preacher, they don't have a priest, they don't have a leader. They have a building, not really a church or temple, a building, and they go there and basically sit in silence, and if somebody wants to speak, they do. If you feel compelled to speak about whatever, then you do. I like that. So it wasn't for me, but I like it. Then I looked at other religions, and I found paganism, and I realised that we're actually all pagans, really. Of course we are. The human being on this planet is a pagan. We can't fail to be anything else, really. Well, we can add on to that. So I looked at Hindus and Buddhists and things like that, and I thought, well, who am I? What am I? Am I anything? My parents were nothing, so that's fine. And as I got older, realised that I'm a Buddhist. It's not that I wanted to be a Buddhist or I tried to be a Buddhist. I just am. Come on, love, let's go. But I'm a sort of a Buddhist. I'm a pagan Buddhist. I'm a Wiccan Buddhist. I'm lots of things, really, and nothing at the same time, because nothing really holds me tight. Nothing really, I'm not going to argue my case. When somebody's religious or whatever, they argue, don't they? And they say, my God's better than your God. That sort of stuff. I don't do any of that. If you think being a Buddhist is stupid and a waste of time, that's great. That's your opinion, isn't it? As long as you've thought it through and you're not just repeating something you've heard. And unfortunately, that is what most religions do. They just repeat stuff. It's not what they've thought out, not what they thought through. And it's not their true way of thinking. It's just repeating stuff, really. Oh, look at that sky. Come on then, Boogaloo. I'm not going down there, Bode, but you can if you want to. Yeah, so take responsibility, and what I mean by that is I had a couple of in-depth conversations just recently, and they both said similar, but one person said, I'm a product of my environment, really, I can't help the way I am, it is just what it is. And I said, do you believe that? And he said, yeah, of course it is, And I said, well, we could all be that, couldn't we? We could all be a product of our environment, whatever our environment was. Or we could let it go and become ourselves, You don't need to be a product of your environment, because you're not. You are if you're 7 or 10 or 12, but not as a grown man. And just because somebody thinks this way doesn't mean you have to think that way. And just because once you used to live that way, it doesn't mean that you can't search for something better, higher, different. You can attain all sorts in life if you want to, if you try. But just to say, well, this is me, I can't do anything about it. I'm a product of my environment, hard luck, poor old me. It's not the case. I really disbelieve that totally, 100%. And that's been proved. If you look at, rock stars, artists, film producers and actors and comedians and stuff like that, not one of them would say, well, I'm just a product of my environment. Most of them were born into a particular situation or environment and thought, it don't really work for me, I'm going to change this, I'm going to think for myself, and the older I get, the more I'll think and the more I will try to change my situation, which is right, Bodhi, stop licking. That tongue has been out about 20 times. So I said, this one conversation, I said, you're not. I said, none of us are. Unless we're children. As a child, somebody else chooses your name. Bodhi, somebody chooses when and how you're going to have your hair cut, what you're going to wear, what time you go to bed, when you're going to get up, what you have for tea. They even choose your religion. Can you believe that? No, I'm against that. I'm really against it. I think religion has got no place in childhood whatsoever. And what I believe is when you're 18, you should do what I did, do what a lot of people do, look around and think, well, do I need religion? Do I need an ethos? Do I need a way of being? Do I need something to, you know, to look at? Come on, Bode. Bode, this way, love. Good boy. Yeah, when you're 18 or 20 or whatever, your brain's more settled and perhaps you've got the intellect to actually think things through, maybe do a bit of study, a bit of research on whatever religions are out there, and maybe you'll try one or two, you know, and you see what works for you, perhaps, I don't know. But that's the same as anything, isn't it, really? You know, you can't expect a 5-year-old to choose their sexuality. Not that we choose our sexuality, but do you know what I mean? You can't expect a child to really to say, I'm a Catholic. Not really. Same as you can't expect a 5-year-old to say, I'm bisexual. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? You know, totally ridiculous. So when that person or the child gets to 18, 20, whatever, they can think things through. And if your 18-year-old said, you know, Dad or Mum, I'm bisexual, then fine, you know, you could accept that at 18 or 20 or something. Or if they said, you know, I'm a Buddhist, or, you know, I want to be an artist in my life, or whatever, then we can accept things, because there's a maturity with the brain, isn't there, at that age. So I am against when people say, oh, I'm just a product of my environment, I'm just this way because I've got no choice. Do you know, we've always got a choice. Always got a choice. Getting warm. And it's not to say that we don't have elements or thought patterns from however we grew up, from our friends, from our family, certainly from your parents and what have you. Because, you know, if your parents love music, you might also love music. You might not. Hello, look at this boy. Hello. I'm gentle with animals and I love and respect and care for animals. But so did my mum. My so-called father was just a dickhead, so don't know what he felt or thought. I had a dickhead of a father and a dickhead of a stepfather, and I'm grateful for both, because both taught me how not to be. Which is okay in itself, isn't it? So one thing I'm going to say to my heart consultant is I'm getting more and more breathless. But when I was in hospital for that 15 hours just recently, I had a long conversation with another specialist. And he said, so how have you been? He said, the last, say, year. And I said, I'm getting more and more breathless. And he said, you will. He said, it's heart disease. It doesn't go away and doesn't get any easier. Okay. Come here, love. Look at the state of you. That's it. But I really do get breathless. Some days are worse than others. Hey, monkey! Come on. Hello. Yeah, some days are worse than others, so it is what it is. Bode, come away! That bloody dog, lick today. It's never been this bad ever. But because I get breathless, I still go out. I'm not going to stop going out. I can't stop going out. My love for nature overrules things. And I'd rather be breathless but in nature than to be not breathless and be at home. Does that make any sense? Oh, so as I'm making this, it's the 28th of August. My birthday is tomorrow. So tonight on the 28th we've got a premiere video. I haven't done a premiere video for a long time, so that would be nice to catch up with a few people and have a little chat, laugh maybe. Just nice to feel connected. I like to call people our tribe because I think when you meet friends, they are part of your tribe, or you're part of their tribe, or together you are one tribe. You know, I can imagine that most people that watch my videos, you know, are a certain type of person. And if we met, you know, 1,000 years ago, well, we would have been in the same tribe 1,000 years ago. Not just met, but we would have been connected by our tribe, I believe. And I don't see that it's any different today. Bode, come here, my love. You've just got a little bit of hair. Just come here. No, come here on your back leg. Right. Let's just take this off. There we go. Thank you. Just bugging me. Yes, that'd be nice. And then tomorrow, Friday, my birthday, I will have a takeaway, Chinese takeaway, because last Friday we didn't have one. First time in a long time. We had a barbecue. We get together as a close, as 5 or 6 bungalows, and we all go and have a bit of a feast around somebody's garden. Look at that, it's Christmas there, look. Christmas in the sunshine, like Australia. Hey, so what I do, well, what a lot of people do, they make things, a pudding or whatever, you know, coleslaw, a cold rice with peas and sweet corn dish, and some sausage rolls were made, I believe. I don't do any of that. So what I do, I buy the meat because I can't be bothered to cook. I don't go shopping, but the lady who owns the bigger garden, wraparound garden, she's more than happy to go shopping. So yeah, I'll give her a few quid and that's what happens. So it's perfect, really. Best of both worlds, sorts us all out, and we have a good old feast. So that's what we did last Friday. So this Friday, tomorrow, my birthday, is a birthday feast, which will be lovely. looking forward to it. I don't really celebrate, well, I don't celebrate my birthday at all, but I have one person who normally buys for me, and sometimes I have a couple of things, 2 or 3 things to open, and 3 people have said there's something in the post for you. So I've got one of those things, and I'm expecting 2 of those things today, so 3 things will be, or should be, there today. So I leave it until tomorrow. We'll open them tomorrow. So thank you in advance. Well, not in advance, because you're not going to see this in advance. So what do we call it? Is this a post thank you? I don't know what it is. But yeah, so thank you anyway to those 3 people. It is appreciated. But thank you also to those people who came on the premiere, because it is a birthday premiere, and there will be a number of people that will have said, "Happy birthday, Bri, you're old." 26-year-old. Yeah, I'm 26. So yeah. But thank you. So, are we a product of our environment? No, I don't believe we are. I believe we are when we're children, but no, we're not children very long, so the answer is no. And then the second person said a very, very similar thing, really. You know, the way I was brought up, that's what he said, the way I was brought up, this is why I think like this, and this is why I do this. And I said, is it really? How old are you? And he said, so I said, well, you've probably lived just over half your life, I would imagine, if all goes to plan. And you live that way because that's how it used to be 40, 50 years ago. Really? I don't think so. Yeah, so the second person said, well, you know, my dad used to do this, so that's why I do that. I said, but you're not your dad. You know, you haven't got his brain, you've got yours. Where's your thinking? And I suppose if you're not going to think, then yeah, all you can do is go off somebody else's thoughts and opinions and things like that, I suppose. I've always said in these videos that some people are quite happy to let the government and the media do their thinking for them. They really are. It's been proved, hasn't it, so many times. But I don't. I like to think, just think things through, really, you know. I think, what do I think about this? Okay, the whole world thinks this way. What do I think? You know, when it came to COVID, for instance, especially the jab was developed so quickly, everybody started taking it, and I thought, well, what do I think about this? And what I thought was it was developed too quickly, so it could be dangerous. So I did a little bit of research and looked into it, and I thought, I don't like what's in this. How is it going to affect us in 5 years, 10 years? I'm going to walk away from it. Thank you, but no thank you. And it's just me thinking things through, you know, not just that, but everything. Come on, my love, this way. Come on. But you know, you've got to do whatever you do in life, and that's fine. I would just say that it's important to think things through a little bit, and not to blame, you know, not to put the blame on I'm a product of my environment. Come on, Or, well, my dad's always done this. The other thing one of my friends said was, he's always voted Conservative. And I said, oh, that's all right, you know. I mean, it's not as far as I'm concerned, but whatever. So I said, oh, that's all right. I said, why is that then? And he said, because Mum and Dad always did. And I said, oh, okay. But do you think they're doing a good job? And he said, Christ, no. And I said, oh, okay. So why are you voting for somebody who doesn't do a good job? And he said, well, you know, Mum and Dad always did. I just told you. Well, that's great, isn't it? That's great. So, if Dad turns out to be a mass murderer, do you go down the shop and buy a knife? Don't know. My mum had a saying, I don't bloody care. She said, if he jumped off a cliff, would you follow? And I said, well, it all depends. Come on, mate. Okay, I'm going to finish this video, but I did like to wind my mum up. She used to say, for Christ's sake, why don't you act your age? And I said, I've never been this age before. I don't know how to act. She said, you smart ass. I said, thank you very much. She said it wasn't a compliment. Sounds like one. Smart ass. My ass is smart. Beautiful ass. Yeah, I used to just wind her up, really. Sorry, Mum. Bless you. So, I believe you're an individual. I believe you are one person. Yeah, you're made up of lots of things around you, and many of us are. Many of us are made up from our parents to our friends, our work colleagues, the things we've done, experienced, seen. And it goes on and goes on. You know, if you're working for the government, or you're working for a political party, or you're a doctor, or whatever, you're going to see life different to me. You're going to see life different to a taxi driver. A taxi driver may have a much more rounded view of life than I'll ever have. Ever, you know. But you are an individual. You're born with a brain. And you know what? Use it or lose it. Use it or lose it. Think for yourself. It doesn't matter what those around you say, do or think, does it? You could have 10 brothers and sisters and they all think this certain way. Concrete thinking. And your thinking should be very fluid. And you can say to the 10, I disagree really. So what if they all like this singer? If they say this singer is the best singer in the world, and you said, oh, I disagree. So what? At least you're being factual, you're being true to yourself, you're being honest. My brothers and sisters, I don't see any of them now, but I'm pretty much a bit of a standalone character, a bit of a lone wolf. I think I'm a spiritual person, but none of them are. And I've said before, but I've got probably 1,000 tattoos. Nobody else has a single one. I still am, but I was really into my music growing up. Always at discos, parties, then raves, festivals. Been to just about all the big festivals you could ever think of, all the illegal raves. And with that comes, you imagine what you know, lots of company, lots of taking of things, you know, just living that way. But no, they didn't, none of them. So I'm very, very different to my family, but it's just the way I think about things, you know. I don't need to be the same or think the same as them to have, well, two things: to have a quality of life and also to be a decent person, because I am a decent person. And somebody can look at me and think, oh, I don't like him for whatever reason, and that's fine, but that's just a lack of thinking on their part. But I'm a decent person, and I've got love and respect. Okay, take good care, and thank you again for wishing me a happy birthday. I've never been 26 before. Well, I have every year, but you know, we'll see what this year brings. Take care then. Be well.